In this session, we're going to be talking about how to increase user adoption of your Dynamics 365 CRM environment, whether it's sales, marketing, customer service, project hub, field service, whichever, with context-sensitive support for users. And that's a built-in functionality that not many people know about. Now, remember that Dynamics is a very powerful solution, but just like any other CRM, Dynamics also suffers with lack of user adoption and acceptance. The result is not as efficient usage of the product and an increase in the support burden for you. So we're going to be talking about how to replace the existing help and support in Dynamics with a something that really works and helps guide the users, answers their questions contextually within your own environment. And you'll be surprised to see how easy it is to make this all happen. My name is Asif Rahmani. I'm from VisualSP. Lots of presentations that I do. You can download them from this link, bit.ly/Asif conference. In fact, here's a list of all the presentations that I do. Well, this is some of them actually. There's a lot more, but organizational change management, user adoption, digital adoption in any product. Specifically, I focus on Microsoft products, but any product for these presentations. Learning in the flow of work, blended learning, hybrid learning, talking about Microsoft Viva Learning if you are interested in understanding what it is and if that fits what you need. These and a whole lot more sessions, as well as session recordings, PowerPoint, everything available at bit.ly/Asif conference. So get it all from there. A bit of introduction about myself a little bit deeply. That's me, Asif Rahmani. I live in Chicago. I'm the founder and CEO of a company called VisualSP. VisualSP focuses on increasing digital adoption by providing a digital adoption platform for Microsoft 365, Dynamics 365, and actually any other web application as well. And I'm going to be showing you some of that in the presentation so you can get a feel for exactly what it is that we do and how it could potentially help you and your organization. I've been a Microsoft MVP since 2007, and I speak at many different conferences, love educating folks, transferring my knowledge. Any questions you have, I'm going to be putting up my email address. Feel free to email me. I'll try my best to answer that. Back in the day, wrote a bunch of different books, more technical, on SharePoint Designer, InfoPath, and so forth. My next book, hopefully, is going to be something that does not go out of style like these ones did, because they're old ones for old products. This is my LinkedIn profile. Feel free to connect with me online, email address, and this is our website, visualsp.com. So connect with me there. Zooming out here a bit, talking about how Dynamics 365 is not just CRM, but of course it's ERP as well. And there are so many different products. We're going to be focusing on CRM portion of things over here in this application, in this presentation, talking about how you can turn on contextual support, context-sensitive support for your users, but there's this whole system of ERP as well. I talk about that in other presentations. Okay. In fact, if you look at the complete breadth of the different products in the Dynamics family, it's huge. There's so much that's going on there, and not advisable to get into everything all at once, obviously. We're focusing on CRM, but if you have questions about other Dynamics products, and if I can help, our team can help at VisualSP, let us know. The agenda for this presentation, first, understanding the challenge of supporting Dynamics 365 users at their moment of need. Why is it that we're even talking about this? Then learning how to implement contextual learning and support in Dynamics to increase adoption, reduce support tickets, and then also understanding the pros and cons of this approach. It's not bulletproof, and I'm going to be talking about that very directly of what the pros and cons are for this approach, and then also third-party alternatives that are available. A very unfortunate statistic, almost 50% of CRM projects fail. The number one challenge for that failure is lack of user adoption. Dynamics, of course, is one of those CRMs, but we're talking about any CRM, Salesforce, HubSpot, other CRMs out there. Everybody, all different applications have the same problem. Specific to Dynamics CRM, the challenge is, the good thing is also that it's very customizable, but it's always unique to a company when you're making this all happen. So there's no off-the-shelf training that can be easily provided to users. There's always going to be some changes that you have to make to accommodate your specific environment, right? And users struggle when they have questions. There's always things changing. And also, in addition to the changes that you make for your organization, Microsoft is also rolling out two different releases through the year, one in spring, one in fall, and Dynamics continues to evolve, which is a good thing, but changes are hard for users to deal with, as we all know. Here's what I usually see. The Dynamics CRM implementation goes like this. An internal team or external consulting company creates a Dynamics environment for the organization based on their needs. After that, environment is when it's being deployed, a training is conducted for future users because at this point in time, we're still deploying it, getting people ready. So they are future users. They have not seen the environment yet. That's what usually happens. When we're doing this training, if it's mostly online these days, but even in person, it's all recorded with great intention. Lots of documentation is provided to the users for their future reference. And that's basically it. And then we cross our fingers and hope for the best that this recording that exists in, let's say, available through Teams or SharePoint or Stream or file share or some other mechanism, and then documentation that maybe it's on their desk in a big binder, hopefully not. That's pretty hard to go through, or available in SharePoint or available somewhere. We just hope that they will go through that information when they need it. That's what we do. So the problem becomes that changes happen frequently by us, by Microsoft, and it becomes very difficult for administrators to continuously support and train their users. That's a big, big challenge. And as we all know that without user adoption, everything that we're doing is useless. What's the point? So that's a big, huge challenge currently. I want to show with this animated image over here that this is what the current help experience looks like. So a user that is in Dynamics, let's say they go to the question mark at top right, and they're presented with this huge amount of documentation, all made with good intention from Microsoft, but you don't even know as a user how to get to something and how to use it. And most of the time, no one really cares for this stuff. They end up talking to their colleagues or something else to get help. Here's the current experience in action right now for a user. Let's say this user is new to Dynamics sales, looking at accounts and looking at her specific account, AdventureWorks. Okay. Now she wants to change the annual revenue. She clicks over here thinking, okay, well, maybe there's a way for me to change it right here. There isn't. She's looking down here to see where can I change that property. It should not be that hard to be able to change it. Can't find it anywhere. Okay, it's not located anywhere to be able to change the annual revenue, which should be an easy thing to do. Okay, so she starts looking maybe online, saying, how do I adjust revenue? So how do I adjust annual revenue in Dynamics CRM? I'm going to copy this so I can use this query later also. Or maybe Dynamics sales. That's probably a better query that person is going to do. Okay. She's going to see this first. Is that the answer? Nope, that's not the answer. All right, so where else am I going to look? None of these things provide me as a user the answer that I'm looking for, which is just simply how do I change this revenue? Now I can click on this question mark and try it this way as a user. Let's try that. Maybe I'll put this same thing over here. How do I change revenue in dynamic sales? How do I adjust annual revenue? Press enter. Nope. None of these things are answering what I'm looking for. It's giving me some access to training and all, but I don't have time for that. I'm looking for an answer, not looking for training, right? So that's frustrating for users. And if I were to not do a search as a user, I just go to the documentation, which most people will not. So let's be real. But if say I do, first of all, I need to remember or understand which product I'm in. I'm not in Business Central, not in customer service. I happen to be all the way down here in sales. Then I would need to know if I'm in premium, enterprise, professional. Most people will not know that. Let's say if they do, then they go into documentation. Well, there's a lot of documentation here for this thing. Chances are extremely high that they will give up by this point. There's not any chance usually that they're going to go forward and do that. Okay, so pretty frustrating. Of course, you know that the answer to this, changing this thing, is pretty simple, but you know that because you have the experience. You go here, you make the change right there in annual revenue. But how do I know this as a user? And that's just one thing. There are so many things like that in Dynamics, as well as other products, which are just annoying and hard to know or how to remember. So just want you to know this experience as we go through the rest of this session over here, the rest of this course. Here's what happens in reality. The current way that Dynamics users get help at their moment of need. First, if they're stuck, they have a question. They're looking around for documentation, information on hand, maybe on their desk, maybe somewhere nearby, online that they can get help. And that's usually just a few minutes that they look. Then usually asking a colleague or manager through Microsoft Teams or just walking through their desk if they're in person. Hey, Sarah, can you help me with this? Or searching on the web. That's only going to help if it's something super specific that somebody has written about, somebody has put a video on there. But if it's something that is specific to this person's environment within, something that has changed in their environment, chances are they're not going to find this on the web, or they might find the wrong answer, which is even worse. Or what happens? They give up, go back to the old way of doing things using spreadsheets, files, notes. We don't want them doing that, right? That it hurts adoption eventually. The whole CRM expectation for what we were doing fails. Don't want them to do that, obviously. The problem with all this stuff is when I, as a user, am struggling with something, I'm going to go looking for it. And when we talk about going to go looking for it, that is context switching. I am getting up from my desk and going somewhere, or I'm browsing the web, or I'm going to a different site away from my Dynamics environment. And that's switching context. Now, context switching by itself can cost up to 40% in productivity. This is according to psychologytoday.com, a pretty reputable site. The notes for exactly the URL for where this exists is in the PowerPoint in the notes down below. So when you download this, you'll see that note and exactly when the study was done and how they found this to be true. And this was a while back, so I believe it's even more now. It's very unfortunate, but there's a big uh, impact, a big expense to switching context. My advice and what I really believe is that even if you're providing less info, but it's in context, that's much better than more info out of context. I mean, think about it. We have the web, so much knowledge out there. But if we don't know what we're looking for, we get lost or we get demotivated. Especially as a user, they sometimes don't even come back to the task at hand. They get sidetracked with something else. So we don't want them doing that. Let's stop training our users and start helping them instead. That's what most people want anyway. When they come to us, they ask, can you help me with this? Usually that's the question. It's not, can you train me? Can you help me? Can you support me? I have this issue. I have this problem. I need an answer, not a training. So providing learning and support in the flow of work is the answer. Providing any information, learning, support, communication, any kind of information in the flow of their work, which does not make them switch context, that's the key. That's the answer. So once again, the solution, providing users learning and support in the flow of work using custom help panes and guided tasks functionality, which is what I'm going to show you in Dynamics 365. That's the solution. And that's actually built into Dynamics 365 CRM. All of the CRM apps, many people don't even know about this functionality, unfortunately, but it's a wonderful functionality. Turn it on, and that's a great solution for what I mean, compared to what you have right now, which is nothing. And turning it on replaces the default help documentation that is not really helpful to users. So enabling custom help panes and guided task functionality goes like this. It's going a little bit fast over here, but from an admin perspective, they're going to advanced settings and system settings. And there's a setting right down here that says enable custom help panes and guided tasks. That's as simple as that. Once again, settings, advanced settings, going into administration, system settings, and I'm actually going to show you this as well in action so you can see exactly how this works. Here's the same environment we were looking at before. Currently, clicking the question mark, it takes me to Microsoft Dynamics documentation. Now, as an admin, you have to be an admin for this to set it up one time. You go into settings, advanced settings. In here, drop down for settings, administration, system settings from administration, and halfway down here approximately, where it says set custom help URL, enable custom help panes and guided tasks. You click on yes, click on OK, come back here, maybe a refresh just to get it refreshed over here. And then, let me show you in a second when it refreshes. Now when I click on the question mark, the experience is going to be very different. Here's the experience. It's giving me what's called a custom help pane. Okay, it has some guided tasks. That's exactly what it is. So this custom help pane is talking to me about, in this case, import account leads and more. It's talking about that because I'm in the accounts table, the accounts entity. Okay, other things also about accounts and organization chart, which is right here. So it's giving me context sensitive help right out of the box, changing the behavior of the question mark, making it much, much better than what it used to be. Let's go to somewhere else. And by the way, if this doesn't happen immediately, just give it a minute, refresh one or more time, and it does happen within 5 minutes or less. I'm actually going to go to competitors instead of contacts here. And in here, click on question mark, and here it is. So I wanted to show you this one because there's not that much documentation here compared to the other one. So you can see for yourself. Now, these things, by the way, do take you to the same documentation, but it takes you to the exact page of what you're looking for in this case. For the Sales Hub, create or edit competitor records, which is exactly what I want to do when I'm in competitors. Right? That's super helpful. Less info in context, much better than a lot more information where it's out of context and I don't even know what to look for. I'm sure you're wondering at this point, well, that's good, but can I do anything with it? Can I customize it? Can I make this better? Absolutely. That's what I'm going to be showing you next, how you can take any custom help pane anywhere and make it much, much better, much more customized to your users' needs. Let me go to contacts here. The reason I didn't want to show you before contacts is because this, I do have this already built out. Let me click on the question mark and you can see the customizations. See, there's a logo for Contoso, my company, let's say, and it's got some links to different things. It's got a video from Lisa Crosby, who does some wonderful videos on Dynamic CRM. And then it also has the generic Microsoft Docs. So this was what was there to begin with. And I changed the heading for that section. I moved it below, made it so it's collapsed to begin with, and put all the stuff here. So I'm going to show how you can build out something like this, or hopefully even better, but this is just going to be some ideas so you can see how you can customize your custom help pane for any of these tables, for any of these specific views. Anywhere and everywhere you go, you do get a unique custom help pane that you can build out to your needs. Okay, so let's get going. Okay, so I'm going to go to accounts. And in accounts, when I click on question mark, here I have some additional, a little bit different content over here. If I go into a particular account, then click on the question mark. Here, I have no customizations. So this proves that at every step, so within a view, within a table, within a form, you have a different custom help pane that you can customize. Now, by default, it's giving me some good information like import account leads and more. Great. It takes me to the documentation. Wonderful. Export sales records. Okay. This is all good stuff, but I want my own company stuff in here. So I'm going to start editing. This is how you edit. And first, I'll edit this section. Instead of related docs, I'll say these are just built-in Microsoft docs. And I'm going to collapse it by default. Insert, save. So now if a user comes, this is what they're going to see. I'm going to continue editing and then put more information here. So first I'll say here, account help, because that's what it is. We're in an account and it's help for an account. Then we can put some wording right here. You are currently looking at an account view. So that's some just easy description over here of what I want them to know. But things get more interesting when you start using some of these things over here. You got a numbered list, a bulleted list, a link. These are all self-explanatory, obviously. But then you also have a balloon that you can insert. You have a coach mark you can insert. Then there's a section, this is a section. Then you have inserting images and inserting video, like the video that I showed you before that I had embedded. So now if I want to start putting some content here directly, I can. For example, I gave the example before of how frustrating it is for many users when they're starting out for things like, I want to change the annual revenue. How do I do that? So let's say if that is something that all of my users are struggling with and I would just want to tackle that first. I can say something like to change the annual revenue, click on the downward arrow, something like that. Downward facing arrow maybe. And of course, what I'm talking about here is this arrow. Now that's a good way of describing it. I can make this maybe bold. I got all these different rich text HTML changes I can make, but there's an even better way of communicating the exact same thing to the user. So that's a good way. A better way would be, how about this? Adjust annual revenue or adjusting. How about that? Now I'm going to highlight this, and instead of just mentioning what to do, I'm actually going to use something called a coach mark. For this, I'm actually going to drag it to this component, the downward arrow, and click on Insert, Save. Here's what's going to happen. Someone has this question of how do I adjust annual revenue? They click on this, and now it gives them a pointer to that exact place of how they would do it. Then they can click on it, and boom, here's the answer, right? So that's a much better way of making this happen. But wait, I can make this even better. Let's go back. This sometimes happens. You click on edit and it goes away. So you have to go back in there. That's a small bug, unfortunately, in this thing. There are definitely other bugs like that too that I want you to be aware of. So we'll be talking about the cons of the whole situation as well. But let's focus on some pretty awesome things first. Now, once again, I want them to adjust annual revenue, right? So I'll just say this again, adjusting annual revenue. This time I'm going to do something a little bit different. Instead of using a coach mark, I'll use a balloon. The link text that I highlighted is here. I'll drag to the same element that I did before, but now I have two different fields here where I can put the title of the balloon and the details of the balloon. So I can say adjusting revenue, something simple. Details, I can say click the downward arrow and then um, insert the new revenue figure in the text box, something like that. So it's very specific. Insert. Now they both look the same, but they will not act the same. This one, as you saw, just pointed to this thing. If I click on this as a user, it's giving me, once again, this is what's called a balloon. You have the title and then you have the information. Click the downward arrow and then insert the new revenue figure in the text box. So I'm clicking this and I'm inserting it, right? It's all there. So a much, much better way of me helping my users instead of just having them struggle with the question mark or looking on the web and things like that. Why make them do all that? Let's continue. Edit. Once again, this unfortunate little bit bug over here. I have to click on edit again. And I'll go in here, put in a logo of my company. I already did a search online to just a specific place. I wouldn't recommend you do this. Of course, you're going to go to a location where the actual logo for your company is. But I'm just going to grab that in here, come to insert image, image URL, Contoso. Insert. That's how simple it is. Give the location of your logo, let's say sitting in SharePoint or sitting somewhere, and we'll just pull it in and show it right here. Okay, but let's go further. So in the other example that I did, that I showed before, I had another section. I'm going to go ahead and put in a section here. Here's how you insert in section. In this section, we'll just say this is specific to our company. So we'll say Contoso info. We won't collapse it by default. And in here, I'm going to go ahead, I can put some text in here. Here's a good video on how to manage your account. And here's where I'm going to find a video and put the info or the actual embedded video here. I went ahead and did the boring part for you guys. So I did a search on YouTube for managing an account in dynamic sales. Now, I would not recommend putting a video from YouTube in your environment. It's better if you already have a video yourself, doing in stream, SharePoint, etc. But for the sake of just showing you exactly how this works, I did the search and I found one video. I believe this is the one that I pulled up here. It's a decent video talking about how you can manage accounts in Dynamics CRM, right? So I'm going to take this video, simply the URL here, and come back. And here I'm going to insert video. Here's the video URL. And then you can choose a start time if you want to, but I'm just going to leave this for right now. Click on insert. Just like that, it has embedded the video in here and save. Okay, so we got a bunch of stuff here. Some text over here. We got a coach mark, a bubble or balloon, and then we have other information and an expanded view in the section and a collapsed view with additional information that Microsoft has provided, which if you don't want, feel free to delete the whole thing. But this is just a much better and easier way for your users to get to the information they need really quickly, right? Feel free to experiment with other stuff as well, but this is pretty simple, things that we have not touched upon yet. Let me go ahead and show you how the video works here. Click on playing the video, plays right here, and as a user I can full screen it. Okay. This one doesn't have great resolution, unfortunately, but the gist is this. This is how you embed any video in a section or outside of section within the custom help panes. Now the experience when a person is looking at this thing, when they go from place to place, or if they go to contacts, this custom help pane remains. The idea being that if you're following a process here, that process might take you to different places and you still want this to be sticky on the right. This is not account help anymore, obviously. If I click on the X and then click on question mark, now I'm in a particular contact, click on the question mark here, a different help pane that I had modified earlier. Okay. Same thing if I go to accounts now, go to question mark again, a different help pane. But if I go to a particular account like I was in before, it does not change. So please keep that in mind. This is how the functionality goes. If I, as a user, click on the question mark now it's going to show me the most latest custom help pane for this particular view. As I was saying earlier, I'm going to be talking about the pros and also the cons of using it this way. So I think custom help panes and guided task functionality is a really good starting point, but it does have limitations, it does have bugs. So be aware of them, and I'm going to tell you about those limitations and bugs. First of all, that limitation is a big one. There's lack of official support from Microsoft. I have tried myself to get support for some of the stuff, and the support personnel did not even know that this functionality existed. So that's a bummer. You would be kind of on your own, but still doing it this way, replacing the current question mark with something is better than nothing. The images and videos integrations also has some bugs, unfortunately. The video that I embedded before, there was a, for example, allow full screen checkbox. Even if you uncheck that checkbox, it still lets you allow full screen. That's just one small annoying bug, and there's others like that as well. So be aware of that. I don't think, from what I know at least, I don't think Microsoft is making any changes or any additions to this functionality. It is what it is, so it's at face value, take it or leave it. Just be aware of some of these small annoying bugs here, unfortunately, but it's still something you can live with, I think. There's no way to implement multi-step guided walkthroughs. What I mean by that is that balloon that I showed before, that balloon, you can only have one for one step. You cannot have things like, okay, first click here, now do that. That does not exist. There's no way to do that within this custom help panes and guided task functionality. No way to draft items before publishing. When you click on the save button, it goes and saves. There's nothing else you can do. Okay, it just is what it is. No customization and branding options available, which means the blue coach marks and bubble, the balloon that you saw before, they will remain blue. There's no way to change that into a different color. Same thing with fonts and other things. There's no way to customize any of those things. And last, no way to target items to specific user groups or scopes. I hear this from people a lot that, I want to put out all this good content in the custom help pane, but I don't want everyone to see that content. I want some content to be specific to user, salespeople, some for sales managers, some for account managers, and some for others. There's no way to do that within here. No functionality exists to make this happen. So please keep these limitations, some of these bugs also in mind. But if you're okay with all that, it is still much better than what comes out of the box, which honestly is useless. So I would say convert it to at least give less info in context, much better than a lot more info that is out of context, which is unfindable, unreachable to most people anyway. Now, there will be times when the custom help panes and guided task functionality that I've shown you is so limiting that it's not enough. If that happens, then you want to consider implementing a contextual support platform, also referred to as a digital adoption platform for your Dynamics 365 CRM and actually also Power Apps for that matter. Here are some choices. So there's WalkMe, which has a huge penetration in the digital adoption platform market. That's us, VisualSP. I'll tell you a little bit more about us in a minute. There's Whatfix, Pendo, and then there's more options also that are available. But definitely look into digital adoption platform choices, but because there are quite a few that's available to you. Regarding what we do, VisualSP, we're very focused on the Microsoft ecosystem. So the digital adoption platform, very specifically designed for Microsoft Dynamics 365 and Microsoft 365. It does work with all other web applications as well, but it's got the tightest integration in terms of security, in terms of targeting very specific security groups, like I mentioned, roles, scopes, and then also understanding the environment and the changes in the environment that keep on coming to make it a super tight integration. And I'm going to show you some examples in a minute as well to show you what is possible to do with a digital adoption platform such as VisualSP. Here's a different Microsoft Dynamics 365 sales environment. Looks very similar to the other one that I showed you, but in this one, VisualSP is running. So I know that because the VisualSP logo in this case has taken over the question mark where that used to be. So no more question mark. This usually is actually going to be your company. So if you, for example, wanted to get VisualSP as the product, this would be your logo that's there. And the reason for that, well, I'll show you the exact example. Same scenario. Let's say someone's struggling with how do I change annual revenue, right? This new salesperson. Now they click on your logo. This pops up. This would also say have your logo and your company name. And here they start typing in, well, I want to adjust annual. There we go. Adjust annual revenue. Click on it, and it guides them step by step with a multi-step walkthrough in this case, created without any code to show them exactly how to do it. Here we go. Here's where you change the revenue. So I go in here and I'm changing it to 70 million. Why not? Simple as that. Not just that, but same thing. I have any question in my mind. I click on the logo of my company. I can now, for example, how about this one? Get a cybersecurity policy. What is our cybersecurity policy? I need to know that. And it's an overlay on top of Dynamics environment. It's giving me information that I need. Either it's about Dynamics or it's about my company as a whole. I click on the cybersecurity policy and here's some information. Very basic over here in this case, just textual information. There's additional kind of stuff as well. For example, manage accounts. Okay, so quick, how to create an account, edit account. Let's look at something a little bit more visual. So how about search for records? This happens to be a video. It's going to show me how do I search for different records in different places. And all this content we provide out of the box, so you don't have to create all this stuff. You can create your specific processes and business roles and work instruction, but any of the regular stuff that people would need to know anyway, we provide all that. And then they can even pop this stuff out so they can watch these videos or other kind of content while doing their work. So they can look at it and do it at the same time. We've heard that that's super, super important over the years. Let's show you something else as well. So I've been showing you things in here, but the overlay of VisualSP is powerful enough that it goes directly in your environment, just like this logo here. Notice that there's these informational icons. Let me point them out here like this and this and this. These are all driven using VisualSP. So if I hover over contacts, it tells me that's what a contact is all about. A quick tooltip, or a little bit more expanded tooltip about leads. Lead is not the same as contact. You can watch a short video in this case, learn more about it. Once again, videos like this we provide to you. You can make your own, obviously. Make your own, use ours, whichever. Most customers use a combination of both. Okay, and all the stuff that you're doing is being captured in analytics as a user when they're doing it. Let me show the design environment as well as to how this works. So I've been clicking on this logo. There's also this tab optional. You can put that out here as well with your logo, with your tagline. Let's say Contextual help. And if I'm an editor, which I am in this case, I can click and enable edit mode. I'll show you how quick it is to make a walkthrough, like that two-step walkthrough that I was showing before. And I'm going to start from complete scratch. Of course, I can start from a template, but I'm going to start from complete scratch and show you even that is so simple. Go and say I want to make a walkthrough. different walkthrough steps. The first step is change revenue here. Okay, and then I'm going to point, say target element, select element, and then this is the one right here. Boom, just like that. Use it. Let's make this so it appears on the left, the actual bubble or the balloon, and I'm going to highlight that. Okay, and highlighted yellow, that's fine. Do a quick preview of this one step. There you go. That's how simple it is to make these steps. You make the first step and then you can make the second step right here pointing to that as well. That's how we've done the other one. Okay, so very, very quick in making these things happen. No code required whatsoever. That's exactly how our customers do it. I'll show you one more thing and then we'll end over here. If I want to see the analytics of exactly what's been happening in my environment as an admin, I can go and let me show you something a little bit more over here. 7, 14, yeah, then by week. Okay, so now it shows me all the analytics. Now, I could have had this deployed on not just Dynamics CE CRM, but also Business Central, SharePoint, and it shows me information about everything. It shows me information about the searches, the email. This, I can make it like that, or I can have the actual email be shown. So this could be, this is more for our European customers who want this to be masked like that with a global identifier. But mine could be, it could say my email address, which this is my email address. So it would say that. It would say the other email address and so forth to identify the user. Clicks by item, clicks by browser, clicks by viewer media type, and so forth. A lot of good information. Everything is exportable. So you can take the data with you. It even shows information about what kind of ROI you're actually getting in terms of how much usage, person hours saves, savings and productivity, all good stuff. Okay, so everything's available. That's what a digital adoption platform does for you. Um, I, I forgot to mention one more thing. Let's say a walkthrough like this one. There's lots of built-in awesome walkthroughs like this one. I want to target that only to salespeople or something. I can go into the editing. There's the filtering targeting right here. And here are the roles and scopes. So I can go into roles and say, show me only the sales people, or sales manager, or sales team member. Okay. And if you have something very specific, you can say, I have this security role, Contextual sales, and I'm going to add this one. So you can do customized roles that you have, put them directly in here as well, and it's going to target that directly. So a lot of different ways of how VisualSP Digital Adoption Platform is very integrated directly within Dynamics, SharePoint, and other Microsoft products as well. So in summary, the main thing I want to point out is you want to replace the default help in Dynamics 365. That's going to help you increase your user success and adoption. You could do that just by built-in functionality called the custom help panes and guided tasks. That's a great first step. Okay, this is much, much better than what's built in Dynamics by default, as I showed you earlier. And of course, if you want to go further when you're ready, you can go for a third-party alternative like VisualSP if you would like. And contact us if you're looking for more information on that and trying that out within your own environment. Here's some next steps. Once again, that's me. And feel free to reach out to me if you have questions about context-sensitive support and training. That's my email address. You can download all my presentations, including this one, from this QR code or from this link. Thanks so much. I hope you got some good information that you can use within your environment. Good luck and best wishes to you.